Hey guys, Pete here. Are you ready to look at the final 2 episodes of Mr. Robot? Because I am, and this is going to be my Mr. Robot Season 3, Episode 9 recap and review. I wasn't around to make the final 2 videos, and now I'm going to be doing that today and tomorrow. Overall, I think the season ended off good, but I have to say that episode 9 was not my favorite episode of the season. It was good at doing what it needed to do, and that was get us set up for the finale, but it was just a lot of stuff that all happened, and it kind of got muddied up there, I think. I mean, so much stuff happened that a little bit of it seemed kind of unbelievable, but there was also some really fantastic parts. I mean, I think season 3 has been great, and part of the reason why this episode is not the greatest is because it has so much competition. So the episode is called Stage 3 .torrent. That is because Elliot decides to go after the Dark Army, and he uses a ruse that there's a Stage 3 in order to get a meeting and get some corrupted files onto the Dark Army's network. We also see Darlene get picked up by the FBI, and that's where everything started, as Mr. Robot tells us via a bar of soap on the mirror they own the FBI. So the episode starts there. Elliot's trying to figure out what Mr. Robot found out when he took over, and we go back and forth between present time and flashbacks that show what Mr. Robot actually found out. In the end, what he finds out is that the Dark Army is actually worse than ECorp, or Evil Corp as it is, and that everything they did was pretty much for nothing. And that's all good by me, because I mean, that's sort of what this season boiled down to, is that the good guys got screwed because the real people in control get what they want. And people in positions like Mr. Robot and Elliot, their split personality there, are the ones who take the fall and lose everything they have. Like, one of the things I really like about this episode is by the end, Elliot is essentially alone. Everybody that was on his side has been neutralized except for Mr. Robot, which he neutralized himself. So that was my big takeaway from the whole thing is that it's Elliot versus Dark Army in the next episode. What I thought was too thin, though, was the fact that Elliot was able to own the Dark Army so simply. Like, I guess you could kind of think, like, well, they thought they were in control, so they thought they were taking his computer from him and all that, but it seems like a pretty simple way for him to get control of their network. And a lot of stuff has to happen to get us to that point where Elliot is indeed alone. We have to see Tyrell is screwed. We have to see that Darlene is caught. We have to see that Angela is out of her mind, which was also kind of a fun part of the episode, I thought. But it's just like so many things happen. It didn't have the flow that I was getting used to in season 3, I guess. So how does Tyrell find out that he's nobody all of a sudden, that nothing that he thought was going to happen, he wasn't going to be free, that he didn't get out of this clear even though Joanna had died? Well, that all comes down in when Mr. Robot goes to visit him. He's basically ready to kill him, or at least beat him senseless, and Phillip Price shows up. And while this wasn't the best part of that episode, I wouldn't say, like, what he says there is pretty definitive. Price knew about everything that was happening because of Whiterose. And he says, world catastrophes like this, they aren't caused by lone wolves like you. He's telling this to Mr. Robot, who he thinks is Elliot. They aren't caused by lone wolves like you. They occur because men like me allow them. You just happen to stumble into one. So this is a continuation kind of what Irving was telling Mr. Robot a few episodes ago, where he takes him and he shows him that party and he says, look, these people are still having a party. They're still celebrating because that's what they do. He's going there to clean up and fix a situation of someone overdosing and all that, but it doesn't matter to these people because they are just busy pulling the strings. And while Price is there, he is been painted as the enemy. He's the CEO of Evil Corp, but we find out that even him, like, he's not immune from it because the whole time the Dark Army has been behind everything. We get a bit of a flashback to when Evil Corp actually decided to hire Allsafe, It's kind of played out like maybe Price saw something in Angela that he liked. Can't really go into it any further here because that'd be spoilers for the next episode. But as far as the scope of this episode, it seemed a little bit unnecessary to me. I mean, we saw that Terry Colby was a douchebag. Again, we knew that already. And meanwhile, we get back to Trenton's email and we find out that Elliot needs to get into Sentinel, which is the FBI's closed network, and Darlene has a plan. In the end, I was glad that Darlene wasn't able to pull that off. I think it would have been a little bit too cheesy if she did that and Elliot owned the Dark Army and they just walked off in the sunset, obviously. I think that whole scene was pretty well acted by both Carly Chaikin and Grace Gummer. I thought that was a pretty good scene. I don't know. I mean, we knew that Dom was lonely, obviously. That was a big part of her character's backstory. Would she have fallen for Darlene? I mean, there was definitely indications that might happen earlier on, and fans were definitely theorizing on it. I guess it worked okay. Like I said, I'm glad that it didn't end up being what it had the making of like her getting away with it and getting away with that badge. So yeah, that lands Darlene in the FBI's headquarters being interrogated, and we know that Dom's boss Santiago is working for the Dark Army, so he's got a problem. He reaches out to Irving, who is cool and collected, even when he gets his car shut down by OnStar by Elliot, and he just asks his potential customer to go ahead back to the car lot and he'll meet her there. That, of course, opens the door for Elliot to meet up with Grant, Whiterose's assistant, and he plants the malware, and that gets him into the Dark Army system. So as mentioned, I think it does a great job of setting up the finale. And what's interesting to me, after I went back and watched it a second time because it had been a while before I got to make the video since I watched it the first time. And I kind of thought about it in a different way. You know, everything's set up for Elliot versus the Dark Army. And originally I was thinking about it like it was Elliot versus Whiterose, but it's really not. It's Elliot versus Grant, right? We got that scene where she gives him control and lets him do what he wants to do. And he has a particularly unhealthy obsession with making Elliot fail. I think they do a pretty good job of painting that picture. You know, he thinks that if he would have just, he tells Whiterose, if you just had done what I said and done my plan instead of putting so much faith in Elliot, everything would be different. And I thought it was pretty funny. I think one of the best parts of it was that as they're talking, you know, she switches back and starts talking Chinese. And I was thinking about the fact that earlier in the season, he only spoke Chinese. Remember, she said to him that, you know, I think now that you're doing this, you need to learn English. And that was not that long ago. So he has perfect English now, and I didn't even catch that until I saw this ending scene here. But things are set up. Elliot's lost it all. He has a way to fix the hack, but not necessarily anything beyond that. I don't even really know what we're supposed to suspect will happen if he does that. But, you know, we see the fatal flaw in that the FBI does not have the same intention because of Santiago. So we're set up for the finale. It was a good episode. A lot of stuff came together. It just seemed a little bit rushed to me. I don't know what you guys think. You can tell me in the comments. I will be doing the finale recap and review right after this, so be on the lookout for that tomorrow. Sorry about being away, but I had to earn some cash to pay my bills, and I wasn't getting that done through YouTube last month, so just something that had to happen. Definitely give this video a like if you enjoyed it. If you want to see more videos like this, think about joining my Patreon so that I can continue to do what I do. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so that you'll know when new videos come out. Over at Patreon, I'm going to be talking to my patrons there to see what we can do. I'm in between shows. It looks like Westworld's going to be coming out in April or sometime around then, so going to have to figure out something to work on between now and then, and I give my Patreon patrons the biggest say in how that goes because they help to support the channel in the meantime. That's it for now. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.